Fusion Applications is an SaaS-based ERP solution from Oracle. Okay, so we'll just get into the outline and then in detail we'll discuss one by one. So in this demo, we'll discuss about what is an ERP and what is the specialty about SaaS, the cloud computing models, and the Fusion ERP, and what all the tools we'll learn it in the Fusion ERP. And if you're already from a EBS background, we can also have a comparison between the Fusion ERP with the eBusiness Suite tools. So let's understand the basic thing. Maybe some of the developers are already from the ERP background. If you are not from the ERP background, let us understand that ERP is a bigger software application which is used by the bigger businesses to manage their internal application. It is not just only for the bigger players, it can be for the smaller team also. Even if a company of 50 team, still they use ERP. Of course, they may not use Oracle ERP, but they can use a kind of a smaller ERP application. So in the enterprise resource planning software, generally, as it is a very high-end business application, the functionality is generally divided into multiple modules. Like if you consider any bigger company, what happens is you'll have a specific department, like a finance department, which manages the money, and inventory team, which manages the item products kind of thing, and HR team, which generally manages the human resources, and the marketing team responsible for the marketing, advertisement, socializing, or like a voice-based calls, email reply, like that. So the in the ERP also, what is what is the logic here is it is divided into n number of modules, and within the Oracle ERP also we have generally we may hear that a finance module, supply chain, PPM module, CRM module, or a SCM module, supply chain module. So one thing we have to understand is why does you require a number of modules? It is only for the purpose of managing the application in a very easier manner. And also the pricing of an ERP depends upon the module as well as a number of accounts which the user takes. So this is very important. So now let us say I have a client which is from the financial background. Why do you require all the modules? You don't require any other module other than the finance module. In those kind of scenarios, generally they'll just take a license of only fin module. It's like a subscription based model, right? Let us say if you subscribe to your TV channel, you generally prefer to have only base package plus only one channel. Maybe the cost will be around 250. If you try to take all the channels, then it will cost the cost will cross around 5,000, isn't it? The same thing also applies in the ERP application. That the customer generally prefers to take the modules in which their business is running, and based on that, they will have the amount they have to pay. Okay. Now, so coming to SaaS. So first of all, what is this SaaS is all about? So the Fusion ERP, which we are discussing today, it is a SaaS-based ERP model. But what is SaaS? So SaaS is a cloud computing terminology. So before discussing that, let me show you one more slide. Then we can get back to the other slide. So these are the four things you have to understand in the cloud computing terminology. On-premise, generally we know it. When you say on-premise, it means that the server is run the server is managed by your particular client itself rather than the vendor. I mean to say, let us say, if you're considering an Oracle database, if your Oracle database is installed at your client location, it means that it is an on-premise. But if you're accessing a database which is installed at Oracle location, then that is a cloud-based one. So here, if you observe, the on-premise model was the oldest model, which has been there in the market from many years. And now recently it has been shifting. It is not that it is totally shifted, but still there are a number of clients who prefers on-premise, and it is slowly shifting. Okay. So here you can observe based on the color. If you observe this one, right, the first one in the on-premise model, the application, data, operating system, everything has to be managed by the client itself. So we need to understand what do you mean by client. Client means now let us say if you're working for a particular customer, assume that you're working for a customer called Titan. So Titan is your customer, and you're a developer who is working on Oracle database. Okay, Oracle database is the software which you are working, and Titan is your customer. Now, Titan is maintaining all the hardware as well as software, nothing but their DBA. The Titan DBA is installing, managing the operating system, the DBA software, and everything, and they're applying the patching. Everything has to be taken care by the DBA team of Titan company. Okay, so that is what on-premise logic is all about. And coming to the remaining three modules or three models: infrastructure as a service, generally we call it as IaaS, platform as a service, and the last one is a software as a service. So in the infrastructure as a service, what happens is this particular, the cloud computing model, nothing but the service provider who is providing the infrastructure as a service, they just provide you the hardware, and they just provide you the operating system, and the remaining thing has to be taken care by the DB or DBA team of that particular subscriber. Nothing but, let us say I am from the Titan company. I have subscribed an infrastructure as a service from Oracle. So then, as a DBA team of Titan, I have to manage my database. Operating system will be managed by the Oracle itself, but I just have a capability or a role to install my DB or patch up, patch down. That's it. No, nothing other than that. Now, coming to the platform as a service, it is a little bit different from the IaaS here. So now in the platform as a service, what happens is, so now in the IaaS model, the DB version, right? The DB installation, everything has to be taken care by the DBA. But coming to the PaaS, the platform as a service, what will happen is the application, nothing but the software. Now let us say I want to subscribe or I require a database application on my server. So then in the platform as service, what I'll do is I just simply subscribe to the database license. We don't require a DB at all. So Oracle will itself will take care of everything. You can observe here, right? The orange color, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, everything is taken care by the provider itself. Applications or data is of customer centric, nothing but you have to design application, right? They are providing you database. When you say an application, nothing but they provide you the database subscription to the developer. The developer has to create the tables, they have to create the packages, they have to create their data. That is what the applications or data is all about. So in the platform as a service, it is not only database cloud service, you have lot number of platform as a services from Oracle. One simple example is DBCS, we call it as database cloud service. We have Apex, application express, and other one like VBCS, Visual Builder Cloud Service, the OIC. Lot number of things are there in the platform as a service market. Now coming to the final one, the one which we will be having a more clarity today, software as a service. It means that the hardware, the software, everything is managed by the vendor itself. Nothing but assume that in our scenario, Oracle is a provider who is providing software for us. Nothing but let us say to the Titan client. Titan is a client and Oracle is a software provider. And now what they do is they'll just say that this is a URL. You can access your ERP from this particular URL. One of the simple example is Gmail. So if you observe the Gmail, to access the Gmail, you don't require any installation in your computer. You just need to have a sign up subscription to your Gmail. That's it. You can access the Gmail from any device, right? It can be laptop, desktop, or mobile. Only thing is you just require internet. That is what software as a service logic is all about. You don't have anything installed on your machine, either in the server or a local machine. Everything is managed by the service provider. In this case, Oracle. So now coming back to the SaaS, now let us have a clarity or more information on the SaaS. So in the market, Oracle Fusion ERP is not only the ERP which is a SaaS based model. We have lot number of ERPs which are there, which are a SaaS based ERP model. Maybe you would have heard the name called Salesforce, one of the ERP vendor who is famous for the CRM application, customer relationship management application. Workday was famous for HRMS. SAP generally is famous for like in the Europe market as well as India market. SAP S4HANA is a cloud-based model, and we have the Indian market player Zoho is a very small ERP, but it was a made in India product. Zoho is a cloud-based model. Infor, Epicor, these are some other ERPs which are there in the market. Of course, I have not mentioned all the things, but I've mentioned the bigger players. The bigger players in the SaaS market are Oracle, Microsoft, SAP, as well as Workday. Okay. Of course, the NetSuite is also one of the like midterm player, I can say. NetSuite ERP is also from the Oracle itself. Okay. Now, the second point says that it's a subscription model, pay as you go. Nothing but let us say today you subscribe that you have only 100 employees, you have taken only 100 accounts. Assume that after 6 months, like your company is growing, what you require? You don't require any additional installation. You just require 100 more subscriptions. That's it. You just pay like it's like when you use the Netflix, right? Generally, one user account is 300. Let us say if you want 4 user account, what you require? You just need to add on the remaining 3 user accounts where you have to pay the extra money. The same thing in the SaaS-based model also. And here, if you observe, if you are if you're from an on-premise model or from other particular background, so what happens is in the SaaS-based ERP model, it is very restricted environment. You may not have direct access to database. You may not do what you want. You have to follow the rules provided by the vendor itself. You can't have whatever you want. You cannot create the new components so easily what you would have done in the on-premise models. So we have to understand the restrictions which are there in this particular one. Of course, there are customizations possible, but it is very limited functionality. And the single set of code set nothing but your data cannot be accessed by any other person. Okay, professionally managed by the vendor. So the vendor nothing but the Oracle in this scenario manages the hardware and software. They know when to apply the patch, they know when to apply the bug, and all the things are very managed professionally from the Oracle support. And a cloud native application, it follows all the cloud latest terminologies. Okay, the customer does not have any control. When Oracle says you have to apply patch, you have to apply patch. There is no way you can say that I will not apply patch, I will be still in the older version. No, there is no way at all. Now the client is on the 24b, you have to, now like Oracle says that you have to apply the patch 24b by this month, and yes, you have to apply. You can't say, you can't deny it, or you can just take a permission for a 1 week delay, but nothing more than that. You can't say that you will not apply the patch. Okay, and now this become a common model for most of the customers. They have been preferring to SaaS. Now let us say if your client never used any ERP, definitely they will go for SaaS rather than the on-premise ERP. But if your customer is already on the on-premise, yep, maybe they'll sit on it for a couple of years because the SaaS involves cost, and also they require technical upgradation, right? It is not a cost free. It requires a good amount of cost, right? So they will have a capex and opex kind of amount they have to consider while performing the upgrade, and they have to they have to consider the latest resources for the cloud application to manage, right? So yeah. And of course, like there are customers who manages both ERPs, and where they have a the data resides between both of them, and they integrate with an on-premise and to the cloud frequently. Okay, now, so yeah, any questions before I proceed to further slide? Okay, so generally when we say the term Oracle, it was famous for database earlier, maybe 25 years back, you can consider that. But now, from the past 10-15 years, you can say that Oracle is there in every market. It is not just database product at all. It has hardware as well as software, both the things. And some of the few ERP solutions from Oracle are, we know that like e-business suite, one of the famous on-premise product from from Oracle, which is famous for the financial application. PeopleSoft was famous for HRMS, JD Edwards for the manufacturing. NetSuite is a small ERP compared to Oracle Fusion ERP, and it is also good in the market now. And that is also a SaaS-based model. Okay, and the first release of Fusion ERP was around 20 years back or 15 years back. It was on-premise earlier. The Fusion was not cloud. Sorry, the Fusion ERP was not a SaaS-based model when it was released. After release 9 or couple of version, it changed to cloud-based model, SaaS-based model. The latest ERP version of our Fusion ERP is 24b. Generally, the logic here is every year in each quarter they release a patch like a B C D, 4 quarters. The first quarter A, the second B, and third C, fourth D. So every year you will see 4 patches from Oracle. And the cloud revenue, especially for the SaaS, has been increasing. And for a year, Oracle is earning around 3 billion from this particular ERP application. So you can understand how heavily this application is there in the market. Okay. Now, coming to the interesting point, or the main point actually. So what does an ERP provide? Any ERP you can take in the market. It is not just about Oracle. Any ERP you take in the market generally will have reports, integrations, as well as approvals, as well as extensions. Every ERP in the market, whether it is a SAP or a Microsoft Dynamics or Hyperion, whichever info or whatever it is you take it, you'll have these kind of things. The technical implementation can be different, but the terminology little bit same, or the terminology may be different also. Okay. Now let's start with the reports. So now, if you are already aware of the e-business suite, I have just provided a comparison. If you don't know about e-business suite, you can ignore this particular comparison. Okay, we can concentrate on the reports part itself. So before that, do you still have any questions, or shall I proceed? Anyone?
Proceed, sir. No questions.
Yeah. Okay. So now within the Oracle ERP, we have couple of solutions from Oracle. So, but first of all, we have to understand what is a report. What do you mean by report? What's the technical component report means? So a report is nothing but an output which is used by the user, the business user or the customer. Okay. So generally, like when you pay the bill, right? Let us say when you pay the electricity bill, you generally receive a email copy saying that this is your bill. Or maybe when you pay the internet bill, you'll generally within the email you'll get an invoice copy, right? Or when you book an Amazon product, generally you'll get an invoice. So whatever the PDF documents which you generally get, I can say it's a report. Okay. So now technically, what are the ways we can implement? So Oracle provides these number of solutions. There are totally 3 solutions. Of course, there are a couple of more also, but I just mentioned only 3 here. The one of the famous reporting tool from Oracle is BI Publisher. The BI Publisher as well as OTBI, a part of a tool called analytics. We call it as Fusion Analytics. It's called OBIE, Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition. Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition. Generally, whenever you see BI tools, when you say BI tools, BI tool is just a generic term. It is not specific to Oracle at all. Okay. In the market, you have a BI tools from the Microsoft, you have like a Tableau, any number of companies have the BI tools. Okay. Now, from the Fusion point of view, BI Publisher, we call it as BI Publisher is a very technical way of implementing a report. It requires the knowledge on SQL and limited knowledge on PL/SQL is enough because within the Fusion, you cannot create any PL/SQL package at all. But knowledge of PL/SQL is always required because there are chances you need to invoke the couple of functions also. There are chances you need to write a anonymous block coding also. Okay, that is the reason you require a knowledge of PL/SQL also. And the BI publisher generally preferred when you have a very complicated report to be designed. Okay, OTBI, it is a very simple reporting technology which is for the purpose of simple reports. The reason why OTBI is preferred by the some of the developers is because when you require a very simple report, the data model is ready for us. In the BI publisher, what happens is there are 2 things in any of the reporting technology, or I can say 3 things: data model, the layout, as well as output. So in the BI publisher, the data model as well as layout has to be designed by the developer itself. But coming to the OTBI, data model is provided by Oracle itself. We generally call it as subject area that is by default provided by Oracle. So that is the reason it is quite easy compared to BI publisher. And in the OTBI, we don't need to write any query at all. As data model is already taken care by the Oracle, we just need to concentrate on what columns we want to have it, what filter criteria we have to mention. That is the reason OTBI is very easy. Coming to the FRS report or a smart view. So these reports are financial reports. So like generally what happens is the balance, whatever the GL balances which are there in the Fusion ERP, they will be dumped into GL balance cube, which generally called as Hyperion cube or GL balance cubes. So the data in that, it is not easy to, like a report in a easier manner. Nothing but like you have a data for each a number of accounts. So using this particular Hyperion or FRS reports, what happens is you can play around with the data and you can show them in appropriate manner for each account what is the balance in a given period. So we can have n number of ways of showcasing the data to the user in a very efficient manner. So this FRS or Smart View reports only for the GL balances information. This report does not work for any other transactions. It works only for the GL balances only. Okay. So this is what reports is all about. Now coming to the interfaces and conversion. See, generally any of the ERP should not work in the silo. I mean to say, like when you have an ERP at the customer location, there is always a chance that data has to come out or data has to come in from the different sources. It can be possible. So so if you just have your system as a lock-in system, what happens is very tough for your customer to migrate to another system or get the data from other system. That is the reason any ERP vendor generally provides a logic to inbound as well as outbound data. So inbound means nothing but if you want to pump some data into the ERP system, we call it as inbound data. If you want to extract the data from the system, we call it as outbound data. So here I just mentioned interfaces and conversion, or you can consider it as integration also, but it's okay. You can have, there are different words you can use it: inbound, outbound, integration, interfaces, conversion. We'll have a clarity once we really start the session. For now, So FBDI is one of the inbound technology from the Oracle Fusion. The FBDI nothing but stands for file-based data import. This is for the purpose of creating data in the Oracle. So it is an Excel enabled macro file. You just need to enter the data, generate the zip file, and then upload into Fusion. Okay. So it internally it uses a SQL loader logic, and then it loads the data into the interface table, and then uploads the data into the base table. That is the FBDI logic. Coming to the ADFDI logic. So the advantage of ADFDI is you just enter the data and press the button. You have a we require an ADFDI login, ADFDI plugin, and you just need to click on the import. The data will get imported. You don't require to generate, upload, and perform the different set of steps. So there are a couple of steps reduced in the ADFDI. Generally, ADFDI is only for the limited set of data import. It supports not more than 10,000 to 20,000, but FBDI supports more than lakh also, or maximum lakh, 1 lakh I can say. FBDI is for the higher data upload, you have to use it. ADFDI is just only for the smaller data volume, you have to use it. Okay. The other one is FBL, which is almost similar to FBDI. See, generally what happens is when Oracle designed the ERP module, so you will not have all the modules ready in a single year. So initially Oracle released HCM, then it released financial, then it released supply chain, then it released CRM, right? So what happens is like initially they have some kind of technological FBL, later they designed FBDI, later they designed HDL. So it goes on. That is the reason you have some kind of different words for different particular modules also. But technically, it is the same inbound process. The process wise, it is also same. Okay. FBL generally in some of the modules you see this particular logic. File-based data import we call it as. For that, you just need to have the generation will be there. Sometimes in some of the modules it generates the XML file also. You just need to generate that particular file and upload it. Okay, this is about the inbound data migration. Now coming to the outbound scenario, nothing but why do you require an outbound? The reason is you have a Fusion ERP system. There should be some let us say you have the customer facing application and you want to show all the data what is there in the Fusion ERP in your customer facing product. So in those scenarios, what happens is you have to extract the data from the Fusion ERP and you have to you have to dump the data into the other ERP system, right? In those scenarios, you may require a BI report which extracts all the data. That is one option. And other option is we have web service concept. Using the web service concept, you can extract the data also. It can be a SOAP or it can be a REST option. So here I mentioned the keyword called interface, like a conversion also. What do you mean by conversion? Generally, the meaning conversion, generally we use it whenever any client migrates from some other ERP to Oracle ERP. In those kind of scenarios, they have to migrate the data from their old system to new system. So in this process, they migrate the data only for one time. In those scenarios, we generally call it as conversion. Or you can these days we are also calling it as data migration rather than conversion. We simply call it as data migration. Okay. Now coming to the next one, the user interface component. Every application, right? Every application should provide a visual user interface where the customer can access your application. So whatever the user interface component which you see in the Oracle Fusion, till last year it was only ADF pages till last year. But from the past one and a half year, Oracle has been introducing the new component called VBCS, Visual Builder Cloud Service, or JET application, Oracle Java Extension Toolkit, JavaScript Extension Toolkit pages. And these are all user interface pages on which the technology was defined. As a developer within the Fusion, we don't have any possibility to define any new pages, but we have a provision wherein if you want to design any new page, there are two options. One is using app composer pages. Other one is using the external path license. Using external path license, we can design a VBCS pages also. And coming to the other one, the workflow. So in the application, you generally require an approval process or a notification process. Nothing but whenever you book a particular product, right? You generally get you'll generally get a message saying that your particular product is dispatched, your product is shipped, your product is delivered, right? These are the information notification. In some other scenarios, you may require an approval. Nothing but let us say when you have done the payment. In some scenarios, it takes a time to approve your payment also. Or generally in the normal IT world, when you need to send a leave request for your manager to approve, or maybe you need to get a approval for your timesheet submission, right? That's all approval based stuff where you require an approval. So within the workflow, there are two things. Either it can be an approval purpose or it can be information sharing, information notification purpose. Okay. Now coming to the last one. So extension is nothing but like Oracle provided the seeded product called Fusion ERP. So there are some places where we can customize it according to our requirement, like changing the logo, changing the theme, changing the banner, changing the look and feel, changing the font, or like in some scenarios they provided a particular capability, nothing but let us say you have a field called description, you want to make it as mandatory. Yes, we can do that. I want to add an URL into my page. Yes, I can do that. I want to upload a particular image. I want to show image in one of the page. Yes, I can show that. I want to embed a particular HTML component, or I want to embed a particular page, or I want to embed a report. Yes, this is all possible. So the couple of functionalities which are possible using Page Composer. Coming to the application composer, this is one of the sandbox tool, or what are the tools which I mentioned, right? These are all sandbox tools only. Application composer is one of the sandbox tool using which we can create very simple pages, not complicated pages, very simple pages you can design using application composer. Okay. And process composer is for the purpose of customizing the standard approval process. Nothing but for every particular approval, like for every, or I can say for every particular business process, let us say AP invoice, right? Oracle provided a standard module, a standard BPM solution, or a workflow solution, I can say. So we can customize it according to our requirement. So it is not that you can customize every product. So there are always a limitation we have to consider as it is a SaaS-based product. And coming to the final one. So in the e-business suite, we have a concurrent program. In the cloud ERP, we call it as ESS job, Enterprise Scheduler Service. So ESS job is nothing but like generally whenever you want to perform any particular data upload, or when you want to generate a report, generally you prefer to use these particular programs. Okay. So I have one more slide, the final one. So generally, these are some of the questions we generally come across when you work with the Fusion ERP. The first thing is, can we design a new UI component? Just now I said that there are two ways you can design. One is using App Composer or using the VBCS. Not only that, you can design any other, you can design new pages using any other Java application or Python program or maybe PHP or whatever it is. And then you can link it as a hyperlink to the Fusion ERP. Okay, nothing but you can navigate, you can click on that link, you can navigate to that particular ERP. Okay, but if you design something using within the application composer, the page will be within the Fusion ERP, which is a license free. And if you design something using VBCS, that is not a license free, but generally, as it is an Oracle product, that can gel with, like what I mean, that can glue with the Fusion ERP very easily. That's the only thing. Okay. New reports are possible. Any report you can design. There is no limitation on that. Can we develop a new PLSQL package? No option at all. You don't have any direct database access. The only way you can access data within the Fusion ERP is only there are two approaches. One is using BI report. Other one is using web services. And can you design any custom module? So there is no concept of custom module within the Fusion ERP. You can't design your custom module at all. I mean to say, like when you say custom module, nothing but you want to have your own report, you have your own tables, you want to have your own pages. Nothing is possible. Only thing is possible is you can design n number of reports. That is possible. And if you want to have an independent solution, then the best possibility is always the VBCS for the UI purpose. Okay. Yeah. Any questions before I proceed? I will take maybe 5 more minutes and then I'll stop. Okay. So this is a login of Fusion ERP. I'll just sign out first and then again I'll sign in. The developers who has never seen Fusion ERP. So generally, this is how you'll get a access to the Fusion ERP. So generally, you will have a user ID password, and in some particular clients, you may have a SSO based login also. Okay. So I'll just click on sign in, and it will get logged into the application. And based on my user account, I may have a different roles. Generally, we call it as role based access. So in the e-business suite, you may have a responsibility menu pages, right? Here we have a little bit different terminology. We call it as role-based access control. And now these are all different modules. For this user, I have a procurement access. I have my PIM access, nothing but the supply chain access. And I have limited access on the what you call the sales order access. the supply chain, the work order logic, right? So it depends upon the user. So I just want to show you one example. Maybe let us say I will navigate to the AR invoice page. Receivables. Do you see receivables? Yeah. Yeah. So receivables, billing. So I want to create one AR invoice. Okay. So I'll click on, yeah. So I have navigated to this particular page. And here, if you observe, like most of the pages have a very standard functionality. I mean to say, look and feel will be almost same. And the content wise, they'll follow a specific design pattern. And you can see the task list, search, and reporting. So this is called task list. It shows a list of tasks which has, and it shows the search criteria, nothing but you can search a particular major primary key number here, invoice number in this scenario. And the final one is a reporting, nothing but the list of reports which are available for this particular module. So here you can see the shared reports analytics, right? It shows the list of AR invoice report, list of reports which are specific to this particular module, AR invoices. Okay. Now I'll just click on task list here and I'll click on create transaction. So based on my role, I may have only create logic, or I may have only approve logic, or I may have manage logic. Okay. So this, yeah, I'll just create one AR invoice. I'll click on create transaction. I'll enter the customer name and yeah, I'll just enter the mandatory parameters and click on save, click on complete and review. I want to show one example here. I'll just click on view image. So it generates a report here. When I click on view image, it generates a report. That report is nothing but one of the BI report. This is how a BI report looks like here. This is a BI publisher report. You can download it, you can print it. Okay. Yeah. So this is a report. Okay. So of course, a lot number of things are there in this Fusion application. So it will not get finished within this 1 hour. But yeah, this is what I want to show you. And yeah, finally I just want to show you the course details also. So here, if you observe, right, the first one generally will be the introduction of the ERP, the components, what are the major we just need to understand the Fusion ERP application, right? This is the introduction one. The next one is the reporting, which is one of the very important tasks for any developer who work in the Fusion ERP. Okay, generally we need to work on BI reports or OTBI. As far as also we work it, but generally 70 or 80% of the work will be in the BIP or OTBI in the Fusion ERP market. And coming to the web services, so as a Fusion ERP technical consultant, we just need to have understanding of this particular SOAP or REST. We may not design any new SOAP or REST components within the Fusion ERP, because designing any new component of re- designing any new integration component is it is the responsibility of a integration consultant. But as a technical ERP technical consultant, why do you require a web service knowledge? We need to know the knowledge because in some scenarios, there are a couple of functionalities which we have to perform via web services also. Okay, that is the reason we need to understand the functionality of these web services. We'll try to understand how do we create the data, how do we update the data, how do we modify the data using the web services. And the other one is data loading, the inbound integration, the approaches we have FBDI, ADFDI, and the different data loaders option which we have. The approval logic, the BPM, like how do we, like customize the BPM workflow? How do you migrate the BPM from one instance to another one? And the final one is the extension. So the total duration, I just mentioned the number of sessions. It is not number of hours. It is just number of sessions. So when you say number of sessions, it may cross 30 to 40 also. I just mentioned the sessions, not the hours. Okay. Yeah. So this all about the demo. So any questions? Or if you have any doubts, maybe you can still contact me later. But for now, yeah, this is the content I want to share with you as part of demo.
Okay, sir.